Hey, what's up, y'all? It's D about to react to this vid. This is by that foreign guy. It's a foreign man in a foreign land. I haven't reacted to him in a while, but somebody told me to check this vid out. Apparently, he calling out Rihanna for being a pick-me. So yeah, let's hear what he has to say. I know that a lot of people love Rihanna, but I feel like there's a shift and people are starting to call her a bird and saying she's a pick-me and she's this and that as of late. So, very interesting. Let's hear what he has to say, though. Let's watch.
Who are you?
Man, I be that.
Oh, wait. I never saw him in a thong. Man, I heard people talking about it, but... Oh, it was a thong. I'm confused. It was a Fenty thong.
Buenos dias, mi gente. It's your boy Big Body Foreign with another bearded breakdown. And today we're talking about Riri and Rocky because there's been many think pieces, even more think pieces, and I think we all missing the plot. But first we have to address today's workout. So, first
No, we don't. What the hell? Okay, Jesus. Y'all got me on this man vlog channel. Shout out to him. Listen, I like workout content on my own time, but not over here, child. We ain't into that over here. Just talk about Rihanna, brother.
To create a career in a business designed to exploit women. And Caribbean people, but specifically Caribbean women, often have this exotic sexuality projected onto them. And that has to do, of course, with trans-Atlantic slave trade, as well as this othering that you get even when you're dealing with Afro-Caribbean people. You're still getting a level of exoticism that is projected onto us. And this permeated throughout Rihanna's early career with her good girl gone bad persona. These themes of corrupting innocence is one of the main focal points of Rihanna's early career. And this unfortunately manifested into a reality in regards to Chris Brown and Rihanna. Probably one of the most painful public pairings that we have seen in the music industry. And given that their relationship is over 20 years old now, we might not appreciate just the gravity of that pairing at that time. These were some of the fastest rising stars, as well as them being very young and being thrusted into the spotlight with very predatory music industry businesses built around them and the pressures associated with that. What a time. But I think Chris Brown is one of the first signs in really understanding Rihanna, in understanding the trajectory of her career, in understanding the way in which she's matured in the spotlight, as well as understanding how we get to this point with her and A$AP Rocky. I mean, hindsight is 2020, so it's very easy for us to say that we always knew that Chris Brown was a loser at heart. But at that time, if we're being charitable, he seemed like he could basically be the next Michael Jackson, or at the very least, the next Usher. I mean, he was a talented singer, a talented dancer, handsome, light-skinned, and light-skins was definitely in season at that time. And keeping in mind, colorism also acts in his favor as we get to the unfortunate incident that pretty much was the spectacle that, in my opinion, was one of the main propellants in bringing Rihanna into a different echelon of a stardom. The bomb that brought everyone together behind Rihanna. Chris Brown unambiguously abusing Rihanna was one of the most heinous things that we have actually bore witness to in the music industry. And to this day, it has colored the way that we see Chris Brown and the world engages with him. Yet still, many people do defend Chris Brown. And I really don't get, and I'm not talking about your millennial moms that have a nostalgia for Run It and his early cherub affects and dancing, the juking up and down all the way around. Like, I don't understand, like, that Amarion Brown of dancing, the icebox, like, looking like you getting the poltergeist exercise out of you. It ain't my type of dance.
Wait. I'm laughing at this caption talking about, nigga, stop all that dancing and go get the bit.
As a Caribbean man, I ain't the dagger and all the rest of that, so it is what it is. But you've also seen a lot of people in the industry continue to work with Chris Brown or continue to defend Chris Brown and associate with him despite his long record, not just Rihanna, but long and
yeah, because when he initially said, what Chris did with Rihanna, it still follows him to this day. I mean, sure, in some people's eyes, but in other people's eyes, it's like, well, he's been problematic, in their opinion, for decades. So it wasn't just with Rihanna. It's not even an opinion, honestly, at this point. Like, the people he's showing, like, yeah, just look up their stories, especially Karuchi.
Extensive record of abusing women and niggas. Let's not forget, he's a talented but abusive man, and it can't just be chalked up to him being young and reckless or, a gang-affiliated member, because it is a legacy that is extended far beyond his youthful years. Despite that, he is about to go on tour with Usher, who also has a lot of things that we could talk about. And that tour will probably be the meeting of many worlds. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Rihanna ultimately has forgiven Chris Brown for his misdeeds. And there's a conversation to be had about restorative justice and accountability, because what do we want from Chris Brown as it pertains to him atoning for his misdeeds? Whatever that is, I actually don't think that we've gotten that, because it hasn't seemed like there's been any type of character arc as it pertains to Chris Brown. He's still beating up on people. That said, the survivors of Chris Brown are the people who have to dictate the ways in which they want their justice to be carried out. But in the wake of that incident, Rihanna's career blossomed in many different ways. And in no ways am I saying that abuse is beneficial to anybody in regards to their career. However, the reality of the situation was that many people rallied around Rihanna, which mixed with her talent as well as beauty and business acumen, it was inevitable that she would be successful. And she capitalized on that success by giving us more of these themes of corruption, which showcased a darker side to her. And she flirted with dark themes throughout a lot of her music. But one of the themes that people seem not to want to address is the fact that Rihanna has always been a pick-me for patriarchy. It's difficult to dissect her Chris Brown era because the incident eclipsed any other discourse pertaining to it. But the mere association with Chris Brown is definitely a red flag. If not Chris Brown, then Drake. If not Drake, then the Saudis. But the mere association with Chris Brown is definitely a red flag. If not Chris Brown, then Drake. If not Drake, then the Saudis, them. You know, niggas known for their treatment of women. It gets to a point where you have to acknowledge a track record of choosing. But I think everybody was still surprised when Rocky was the choice for what seems to be something even greater than marriage, which is to have a child. When Rihanna recalled how she met A$AP Rocky, Rihanna said, and I quote, "We were first at a rehearsal for the 2012 VMAs, so it was like manager to manager, client to client. Then during my performance on stage, I don't know where he got the courage from, but he got on stage and grabbed my ass that night. Everybody thought I was about to react angrily. My team was worried that I wanted to have his head on a fucking mantle. But I was like, nah. Then everybody was like, oh my God, she likes it. After that incident, we stayed in each other's world for years as friends until the end of 2019 that we decided to take that step of dating."
Wait, this picture is from the first time he met her? Because it says we met at a rehearsal for the 2012 VMAs. So it was like manager to manager, client to client. So that was like in a professional setting, okay? And then during the performance, so basically this is still around the time she first met him, he jumped on stage and grabbed her ass. I've seen this picture before, but I was thinking they was already like very familiar with each other. He barely knew her when he did this? Ain't no way.
We saw fashion the same, we saw creative the same. I would wear his shit, he would show up to my launches. I've seen him in relationships, he's seen me in relationships. We've seen each other outside of relationships. We knew what we're capable of and the trouble we could bring to each other's lives. We can make or break each other's hearts. So we started dating with a lot of caution. I just let whatever was supposed to happen happen. It was like, this is a flower, it's either going to die or blossom, but I'm going to let it decide itself. The idea of falling into love is something that I have always advocated against. Love is a choice. Love is action. Love is what love does. You can fall into lust and you can fall into being enthralled with the idea of someone. And that's fine by its own merit. But it is definitely an unreliable source of fueling a union. Take from that excerpt what you made. Because Rihanna being...
Foreign, what the hell does got to do with Rihanna? Cool, this seems like this is his other channel, so I understand putting up different types of content on your separate channel. I do it on Shanell TV. Go check it out. Link down below. I will start posting on there again very soon as well. Is the link down below? It should be. Maybe I should put it in the description. I think I already do. Anyway, so I understand that, but not on a video that's talking about Rihanna. The two don't mix. This has nothing to do with Rihanna. Do separate videos, separate workout video, brother. I mean, do what you want, it's your channel, but just an observation.
One of the most coveted women in all of entertainment at this point, beyond music, beyond rap and pop in general, but the fashion world at this point. The concept of A$AP Rocky grabbing one of the most coveted women's ass publicly in one of the first times they've ever crossed paths is crazy to me.
Insane.
Not gonna lie. But the pick-me is strong with Rihanna, and it always has been. And to be honest, in the Caribbean, we do set up women for slaughter in regards to how we communicate their place in society. Patriarchy and pick-meism has permeated every corner of the earth, but the developing world has
You're not
still
going down
received
low
quite a
enough,
bit of
brother.
inculcation in regards to it. Given that the developing world is such because of a lot of colonialism.
Fix
and
this
therefore
form with
has
these
had-
Bulgarian split squats since you want to show us this footage. Your form is a little off. You can go down a little bit lower and you're going too fast. You got to be able to have slower control movement. since you want to show footage. Don't listen to me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I mean, I actually kind of do. But, yeah.
Their resources rendered away from them, leading us to a lot of impoverished
I'm
conditions.
pretty sure I'm correct, actually. And a lot of stuff I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'll just be yapping. But no, with this, I've heard many trainers say that with this movement. But all right, which one?
Scholarly findings have found that religiosity increases as wealth decreases at a national level. And religion comes with it quite a bit of gender roles, and one of those gender roles is a engagement with patriarchy and trying to uphold patriarchal talking points and dictating the ways in which women live. And you see how that's manifested throughout the women and the men in these societies. So it's no surprise to me that Rihanna acts in the way that she does. At the same time, that is at a quandary with what I believe the Navy and people at large to believe Rihanna to be. Same way with Lotto, where she's pontificated about not being a baby mama, and the rise of the boss body, which is just the black version of girl boss feminism that you get from white women, and the Ugg boots on the ground feminism that you get from white women, the pumpkin spice latte BuzzFeed feminism that you get from the white gal them. It could also be extrapolated that Megan Thee Stallion is tangential to the same discourse, because Megan Thee Stallion has put out a persona where the impregnability of the body, Megan being unflappable, unbothered, because she's just that attractive and that desirable that she can never have a man doing a dirty enter play. So the problem that I have with the discussion in regards to the bird brainification of female pop stars and rappers is that a lot of it is framed through this man-centric lens where we put the choices and the failure of these men as failure on the women that choose them. And I see a lot of that with Rihanna. When A$AP wears a thong on stage and gets flamed for being feminine, something that A$AP Rocky has pretty much always flirted with. I mean, lest we forget when Rihanna was pregnant and they did that photo shoot where he took a backseat role to Rihanna in a more powerful, one would argue, patriarchal position. People was drawing lines trying to look at how submissive A$AP is. This is a nigga that used to call himself pretty flappable. One of the only things that I can commend A$AP Rocky on, apart from the fact that his first album was a cloud rap masterpiece, and I think that he will never surpass that, but he has always showcased his feminine side in an unapologetic and very masculine way. But because of the pairing of Rihanna and Rocky, we then have A$AP Rocky's presentation of masculinity being a commentary on Rihanna's femininity. If you got this nigga holding purses, wearing thong, then what does that say about you, the mom? You know, Rihanna. When in reality, going back to this dichotomy of having all of these different versions of Rihanna living at the same time, who the audience believes her to be, who she believes herself to be, and who she really is, at war with one another, in the trenches. We're holding Rihanna and Rocky, and more importantly, their relationship, to a standard that we are not privy to, and we don't have a right to be. However subversive their relationship may very well be, in our business. This ain't a throuple, or however many fans that Rihanna and Rocky have in culmination, however many people could be in a relationship. There's too many people in this relationship. There's too many snakes on this plane. Because we do not know who Rihanna really is at all, and especially in that relationship. However they may carry out their union is all up to them. And the dissonance that we have between the performance of their relationship, the reality of their relationship, and what we want their relationship to be in order to justify how we live our lives and our romantic lives is not fair to us. We're setting ourselves up for failure because these are unattainable circumstances and ideals that will always fall short of what these people really are, as well as we're putting a strain on their relationship because now they have to perform it.
Okay, that part I don't agree with, though. I agree with the first part because it's like, I don't know why y'all compare yourself to these celebrity relationships. It's just very, very different, so stop. And what they do, you're not going to do. It's very different dynamic. But the second part, him saying, oh, we're putting strain on their situation, they're public figures. People are going to have opinions. They're going to talk. Or they're going to insert themselves in their relationship because that's what people do online. They discuss pop culture. Relationships are not exempt. So people are going to discuss it. And it's just like you don't have to read it, though. Or you don't have to tune into it. So she doesn't have to look online and see what people are saying about her and A$AP. If she happy, then who gives a fuck what people are saying? It's just like, all right, girl, just focus on that. But I forgot what I was going to say.
in a way that is most agreeable with society at large. Now, it's not to say that we can't critique the ways in which Rihanna's actions and romantic performances with A$AP Rocky has impacted the ways in which romantic relationships are engaged with. There was quite a bit of criticism online when Rihanna popped out with a picture of her belly in a crop top and Rocky beside her, not a wedding ring in sight. Again, marriage is an institution, especially at that level of wealth that we're dealing with in regards to Rihanna. Rihanna can do whatever she wants. It really doesn't matter as far as protection goes when it comes to getting married, because marriage is very much a business. Only in recent time has it turned into a decision made primarily from a love standpoint.
And people will say, oh, it's also religious, but it's like, not everybody is religious. You don't know people's, beliefs, and they might publicly be like, yeah, I'm Christian, but I know a lot of people who say they're Christian, but they don't really they don't really move like Christians, and they don't go to church, and they don't. Well, I'm not saying you need to go to church anyway. That's a whole other conversation. But the point is, they don't live their lives like Christians, and they are not dedicated to dedicating their life to Christ. Okay, like there's a whole lifestyle that you should have when you are a Christian. I'm not saying you need to be perfect. Again, a different conversation. But the point is, people will just say it just because they feel like they're supposed to. That is the point, okay? It's the only point I'm making. That's a lot of people who grew up, feeling like, oh, I should say I believe in God because that's what everybody else is doing around me. So sure, I believe in God. Sure, I'm Christian. But it's like they're doing absolutely nothing. They don't read the Bible. They don't pray. They don't go to church. They don't conduct themselves like Christians in any type of way. Any way at all. But they'll say, I'm Christian, sure. My family, sure. I'm black. Of course, I'm supposed to be Christian, It's that type of vibe. So she can say she's Christian. I don't know her situation, by the way. I'm not speaking about her specifically. But someone can say that they're Christian, but they don't really live their lives according to such. So they can't be like, well, they're probably getting married because they're Christian and it's for religious purposes. It's like, no, that's not the case for a lot of people. I feel like, especially in this day and age, a lot of people are moving away from religion, honestly. So yeah, I don't think that's a thing like that.
Okay, centuries before that,
when I say a thing like that, I feel like as far as like prioritizing God, like I'm getting married because I'm doing this under God, and I'm religious, and this is, a thing that's practiced in my religion. That's what I'm referring to. I feel like I gotta clarify myself because people just are a little slow, and if you don't spell out something like bit by bit, people will, well, are you saying this? And wait, but that's not right because wait, but are you
making property out of women? And two, a business decision oftentimes between municipalities and kingdoms trying to aggregate wealth. I think it's inarguable to say that Rihanna is the wealthiest person in that dynamic. So from a protection standpoint, she don't need to marry Rocky. But it is interesting that people still make a commentary on her not being married to Rocky. If she's not married to Rocky, we don't even know. But it's especially laughable when you realize that they have children together. Multiple children together. One would argue that children are a ring in itself. A very strong one at that. A very expensive one at that. And with that comes many different expectations. Because let's be real, Rocky didn't stop at one. Rocky did not get up off that gal. Rocky had multiple children with them. And in a world where men do try to, as we Caribbean say, sit women down, especially when they are very ambitious, especially when they are at the apogee of their career, because it's a commentary on the man's ability when a woman has succeeded so much in a particular realm of which they are also angling for accolades. A$AP Rocky and Rihanna are contemporaries in regards with fashion, in regards with music. And not that it's a competition, having a successful wife in Rihanna, if anything, from any angle, even if you go with the traditional standpoint of marriage being that you own a woman, you should be very proud of that. That being said, some men cannot handle their significant other being more successful than them, i.e. Simone Biles, DDG, Kiki. The list goes on. And I won't sit there and gaslight y'all into thinking that there's not a reality where men purposely embarrass the women that they're with and sabotage the women that they're with in order to take them down a peg in regards to their ambition, as well as their public perception. And I can understand why some people would feel like that's what A$AP Rocky is doing when he says things like,
thank God y'all didn't know me when I was single, because I would have fucked the shit out you.
Which, nobody asked you to say this. I mean, who are you to say that the gals in the audience would grind you? You out here saying that if you were single, you would have access to all these gals. As if they don't have a choice in the matter. As if the only reason why you are not able to have any gal at your beck and call is because you are engaged with one of the most sought after women in the entertainment industry. And speaking of which, if you like it, I love it, Rihanna. However, in less than a year postpartum, your nigga being on stage saying that if he wasn't romantically involved with you, he would have grind everybody inside the audience, and you less than a year postpartum with his baby, with his DNA, still intermingling with your own for years to come. I just could say, niggas were dead for less. But again, I think we do need to grapple with the reality that this might be Rihanna. This might have always been Rihanna. Rihanna may have always been someone receptive to this type of engagement with her romantic partners. Keep in mind, Rihanna caught up online and was saying,
I fucked that nigga. This is my nigga. Daddy. Like that.
Okay, your baby daddy's on tour.
Just been lost.
Your baby daddy's on tour. How you feel about it?
I just been brought back.
Okay.
Oh my God, look. Right there.
Damn. Baby daddy, okay.
Rihanna has put her weight behind A$AP Rocky in many different cases. Mind you, A$AP Rocky was going into court hand in hand with Rihanna, one of the most successful businesswomen, mind you. People that have businesses of which will be affected by Rihanna's every move because they are stakeholders in it. Yet she still defended A$AP with her own association while A$AP was in court. Rihanna used her fame to promote A$AP's album, and one would argue is still doing so, as A$AP is indeed capitalizing
They said Rihanna's too successful that sometimes I forget she's a loser.
off his association with Rihanna in his live performances by bringing up these spectacles. One could wonder if this has reciprocated in any way, shape, or form. I don't know if Rocky has or is even in a position to defend Rihanna in whatever calumnies she might find herself into. Do I think Rocky's actions is inconsiderate? Yes. But do I have a right to the way that I want Rocky to interact with Rihanna? Not really. Do I understand the inner machinations of their relationship and that machinery? I do not. And a better question for everyone that is invested in it is, what does that mean for you? Not in a touch grass type of way. I'm more so saying the same way in which a lot of people had feelings about Megan Thee Stallion being cheated on by Klay Thompson, and the ways in which this desirable woman is not only being embarrassed, but infidelity has found her, despite having access to resources, fame, and most importantly, looking the way she do. How does a man still want more? And what does that mean for your quote-unquote average woman? If it could happen to Megan Thee Stallion, then that could happen to anyone. In that same brand, Rocky's actions, as well as his ethos, impacting Rihanna and their relationship, what does that mean for the average person dating in today's romantic capitalist economy? Keep in mind, this is still developing because there's quite a bit of rumblings in regards to Rocky's fidelity, or maybe even lack thereof. But however that turns out, when it does turn out, I think what we end up missing is Rocky's actions being framed as a Rihanna's failings is a product of patriarchy, in the same way that people have been talking about Megan Thee Stallion or Lotto rather than Klay Thompson or 21 Savage.
I hear what he's saying, and I do think that patriarchy has something to do with some people's criticism, but I feel like other people focus more so on the bigger celebrity, the one who is the most vocal and putting themselves, in the spotlight the most, like Megan Thee Stallion, for example. Klay, we didn't hear nothing from him really. He didn't have much to say throughout their relationship or, after they broke up. Megan was very vocal. She posted him all the time on her social media platforms. She made a whole song about him. When they broke up, she announced that, hey, he cheated, he did this, and that. So it's like she kind of made herself the focus of, their relationship, and especially because there was like history of her doing this with other relationships, and there was history of Klay cheating on his previous partners, so people were able to criticize them both. People who only criticize Meg, okay, sure, that's one thing. It's like, all right, you're being sexist, you're being ridiculous. But there were a lot of people who criticized them both. Like, yes, Klay is trash. I was one of those people. He's trash, he's terrible, cheating is wrong, this is messed up. In the same breath, you can also be like, well, hey, you keep picking these, athletes and rappers and expecting them to be loyal, and I guess coming out and being surprised that they're not. So that is just confusing, so people can speak their opinion about that. And same with Rihanna. She's the much bigger celebrity, okay? She's the icon here. He's honestly like Mr. Rihanna, if you want to be real, and no disrespect, but it is what it is. So people are going to focus on her and how she responds to his nonsense. It's like, at the very least, I just wouldn't say anything if I was her, but it seems like she is kind of in support of his antics, and it's like, you know, she's excusing it publicly, so it comes across like, oh, she's a bird. This is not what I'm saying. This is what other people are saying, what their sentiment is. I haven't had really an opinion about her and Rocky's relationship other than the whole marriage thing. I agree, like, she don't have to get married. She's a billionaire. Why would I want to marry him who has significantly less money than me? That doesn't make sense. So I've had an opinion on that, but as far as the dynamics of their relationship, I don't really care, and nothing has come out too crazy for me to comment on. When he went on stage, I definitely said that was, you know, raggedy of him to be like, oh, fuck the shit out of y'all if I wasn't in a relationship. It's like, ew, why would you say that, you know? But I haven't criticized her for that. But like the things that I've seen about people criticizing Rihanna, I think they're just feeling like, oh, well, she seems to be complacent and like accepting this bum behavior from this bum man when she's Rihanna, billionaire icon Rihanna. Like, they're like, girl, you a bird, you'll pick me. So that's what the streets are saying about her. So I don't know. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about all this stuff, and I'll see y'all on the next time. Bye.